You've tuned into Stranger Than Fiction News, broadcasting live from the dark side of the planet. We've got some bombshell information. An insider with sources at the World Health Organization by early summer, ladies and gentlemen. And that this virus is so infectious, it's off the scales. You probably heard reports not too long ago about the modification making it 1,000 times more contagious than SARS. SARS was already a level 2 virus. If it's 1,000 times worse than that, what could it be? We're going to be getting into this information, ladies and gentlemen. Prepare for the FEMA camps, prepare for the last stand. We hope that you got your supplies. How's everybody doing out there? Anybody impressed yet? As expected, this is all going to begin to blossom and bloom in every major city in America, around the world, at around the same time. And the numbers are far, far worse than what they're saying right now. In fact, it wouldn't be a surprise that there's 100 million Americans infected right now. Those are the real numbers. But what they're saying to you is just to keep you calm. Now, the problem is that this virus has a huge incubation period. It goes latent and comes back. There's the acute infection that infects the respiratory pathway, causing the SARS-like pneumonia. And then it goes systemic and comes back. And the relapse is connected to cytokine storms, encephalitis, and it's a drop-dead virus. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our future now. You've known for years. You've been warned for years. You've known since 9/11. You've seen the Georgia Guidestones, the eugenics programs for yourself, the geoengineering, the death towers. You've seen the fluoride. You've seen the vaccines, the autism. Now everybody's got an autistic kid, pretty much. Everybody definitely knows somebody with an autistic kid out there. It wasn't like that in the 90s. It wasn't like that in the pre-9/11 world, ladies and gentlemen. And soon we're going to be talking about the pre-2020 world, if you can believe that. Let's get into some of this information here that's coming to us, posted January 31st in an anonymous board, and we're going to get into why this is important. It's well written first and foremost, but the information that comes out here foreshadows what we're seeing now. So this was written a month ago, warning investors, high class, high society, in the brokerages. We're going to get into that. In the coming months, the disease is going to be sustaining infections globally, including sustained local infections in virtually every major metropolitan center on Earth by late May. US CDC and WHO are both projecting anywhere from 60,000 to 2 million deaths by early summer. And this is still probably a very low projection. Again, they are downplaying this because 2 million is not considered to be a lot of people. But that's under the assumption that they can stall the infections in every major urban zone. They're going to lock everything down for months and months. And it's going to make Wuhan look like, like a cake ride, if you will. You saw it on the television. You saw it on, the socialist media platforms. And you're like, oh, no big deal. It's happening to the Chinese. It's about to happen to you in just a few weeks, if not days. We're going to get into this other bombshell information. We hope you can read this. We're going to be providing links to the original here pretty soon. But it's so well written. And listen to this. Remember that the most optimistic prediction at this point is 60,000 people are going to be killed in the next few months. It's highly infectious with an R6, R0 of 6. Ladies and gentlemen, that sounds more like our virus from the dark side. And this makes it just off the scales. You can't even imagine how infectious this is. It's like, a hypersonic cruise missile in the form of a virus. And it probably circulated the globe in weeks. And now it's been nearly 2 months, ladies and gentlemen. Probable chance of further mutation, infectious during the prodromal phase, and it's airborne. The only reason you're not already seeing thousands of people confirmed outside of China is because of the long incubation period. But believe me, the WHO is already talking about how problematic modeling the Chinese response in Western countries is going to be. And the first country they want to try this out on is in Italy. If it begins in a large outbreak begins in a major Italian city. And, that was the first place that was announced. Everybody's, been infected hardcore since mid-January. Okay? That's the real timeline. Mid-January, pretty much every big city got dosed hardcore. And it only took days for the whole city to be infected. And so everybody is pretty much sitting on the same, footing in terms of infections in their countries and in their cities. And they want to test out the lockdown in Italy first. And that's what we saw. This was written beforehand. Now, look, you can be a skeptic. It's okay to be a skeptic. We're obviously skeptical about most of the information that comes our way. But it sounds more in line with, what we should be expecting than what they're saying on the television. And of course, you're not getting a whole lot of information on the television because they're trying to maintain public order, like the movie 2012 or Contagion. You just don't need to know. It isn't going to help. You can see how it is now already, how it's beginning now in the Costco's and the grocery stores. Everything's starting to empty out. And so they were just trying to give, all the VIPs ample time to prepare without having to face the Black Friday crowds at the Costco's. And, all of the rich and famous have been pulling out their money quietly in the last 30, 45 days. And what you're seeing right now is just kind of like a superficial, maintenance of the markets. It's like the markets are on life support and they're being like force fed with, treasuries, bonds and loans and the like. But that's part of the crash protection program that they put in place a couple years back when it started to, go the other way. In any case, we're going to get into the news, believe it or not. How's everybody doing out there? Incredible, isn't it? In any case, it's going to get much, much worse. Want to say hi to everybody in the audience out there. And let's see. We're broadcasting live on the ScrewTube. If you find us on Facebook later, find us on ScrewTube on our website, stfnreport.com. That's stfnreport.com for stranger than... Oh, the video guy. There's the video guy. In any case, ladies and gentlemen, coronavirus, 2 new dead people in this one county. It's starting to pick up hardcore all of a sudden. Made in China. Remember, this super virus is made in China, released to destroy the world. It's a doomsday virus, and it's a preemptive attack on non-communist countries. Here's a real disturbing video. Army National Guard passing through Grant Pass, Oregon. Never seen anything like this, was the comment associated with the video. There must be some major movements preparing for the next phase. This is, going to be the biggest nightmare any of us have ever seen, period. USPS employee in Federal Way tests positive. All of the mail is going to be contaminated. The money is going to be contaminated. You really have to pretend like everything out there in the world right now is like a level 4 bioweapon. It's all been contaminated, dusted like red rain. It's everywhere, floating around. We've talked about reducing virus load. We've talked about managing the disease because everybody's getting infected with this airborne AIDS. And so we recommend getting magnesium, zinc, iodine, vitamin C in tablet form because your fruits and vegetables are only going to last so long. Get high quality. It's worth it. Maintain, levels throughout the day. And if you can split up the vitamins and whatever, maintain your dose throughout the day. so that you're not just like peaking in the morning and then, absent of any type of reinforcements at night. And so this thing is going to cycle. We've talked about disease management. We've talked about what you can do. Check out the video archives for more on that. Time is always limited, so we'll let you, check it out on replay on demand if you're interested. Lab for coronavirus test kits have been contaminated, and people that were actually opening up the kits in the hospitals were actually getting contaminated with this virus. And so all of the hospitals would get contaminated, and all of the patients and all the people coming through there, and it would become a revolving door. So not only are they not testing, but they're releasing the virus in hospitals on purpose. What do you think about that? That's being confirmed, ladies and gentlemen. And beware of low-flying planes with low vibrations. It seems like they're using them as an adjuvant to this outbreak. But as you can imagine right now, this has all been orchestrated. This is part of the New World Order plan to exterminate people, and they're going to make it, they try to make it seem like, oh, it just emerged and it was just, some kind of random outbreak, But what we're finding out now is 300 yards away from the seafood market was their, government weapons lab. So they use the seafood market as an incubator to pump it out into the city. Then they use the city as an incubator to pump it out to the rest of the country and to the rest of the world. Ladies and gentlemen, latest numbers from Italy, quite high. And this is just the beginning. I mean, this is going to infect and ravage entire societies, lighting up toilet paper. It's just going to burn through cities, and you can't even imagine what it's going to be like in the cities. It's going to be, like the zombie apocalypse and the breakdown of society. And, you can have all the gangsters just shooting everybody, looting everything. It's going to be something else, man. Hunker down. Prepare for the last stand, because it's going to get wild. Coronavirus apparently has functional mutation. And we're also, some of the stuff that we've got from this source, not to mention what we've discussed already, is talking about this thing having a huge affinity for mutation. And as soon as it starts getting into other animals and incubating and, forming virus reservoirs in cities, it's going to come out nastier and nastier every winter. This isn't going to go away. But, we talked about the projections here. We'll get more into this source, but it seems fairly credible. Again, no guarantee, but the numbers, wouldn't surprise anybody at this stage. I mean, if they're going to release a doomsday virus, you would expect that it would kill more than 2 million people. You would expect that it would kill more than 2% of the people. And, we're going to be talking about this for years and years. This is going to be, defining people's physical existence for quite some time. Like and share. Feel free to mirror out there. Anybody out there? How's everybody doing in the audience? I hope you're prepared. I hope you got all of your supplies. We gave you a month plus warning. Some of you did. Some of you are ready. And, we've been talking to most of you every day, right? And it just gets more and more wild. But you got to stay positive. There's a lot of people losing their minds right now. And there's an interesting statement that was made earlier today. We're going to quote it. People are having a really weird, almost violent reaction to this, almost like they resent having their bubble burst, incapable of digesting anything outside of sports and their daily routines. What they can't really accept is that they're going to hell pretty damn soon. And look, everybody should get right. Ladies and gentlemen, get on the right side of the fence. Know your Bible. Say your prayers every day. Remember the one who sent you, ladies and gentlemen. And there you go. Start with that. Know your 10 commandments by heart. Go look at them again. Make sure that you're, in full compliance out there. This is going to burn through and devastate Sodom and Gomorrah, ladies and gentlemen. And the sheeple will always be clueless. You can't help them. You wish you could. You've been trying to help them for years when it comes to these eugenics programs and Gladio B events. They don't want to listen. And they're getting upset. and expect, the unexpected, for sure. Very sad. Again, this video from Iran. Little kids are just dropping on the city streets. And, this is going to happen everywhere. Pull your kids out of school. We got more drop dead videos now in Iran. So, we got the China syndrome over there. It's going to happen everywhere. People are going to drop dead. And that's why it's really important to manage your fatigue. We don't know what kind of weapons these are, but they looked really interesting. Turkish army fires artillery. And so that war is going hot. Turkey, Syria. But these are some pretty, they're saying this is artillery. And it, looks almost like a plasma gun if you zoom in on the thing. So you can check that out on our Twitter feed or on our website, stfnreport.com. New Jersey, pasta aisle, Trader Joe's. Remember when that ghost ship, docked, was allowed to dock, a huge incubator full of virus was allowed to dock at the Jersey port of Bayonne? We talked about that. We're like, oh, they're insane, they're crazy. And all the people that they brought back from the Diamond Princess, they infected, the workers who just went into the towns and all of that stuff. And one person even went on a plane, we heard. So there you go. This is absolutely deliberate by design, like another 9/11. Remember that testimony? The planes are 20 miles out. The planes are 10 miles out. Do the orders still stand, ladies and gentlemen? Of course the orders still stand. Haven't you seen the Georgia Guidestones? Of course the orders still stand. What kind of question? Who asked a question like that? It's kind of as mysterious as that map, that Podesta map. Oh, we think this map is pizza related. Oh, you don't say. Pizza related. Very good. It was a map to Domino's, undoubtedly. But we're not going to get into that. We're not going to get into how they whacked Epstein. We're not going to get into all of the other Gladio B events. But these people have a track record. They're serial killers. That's why they should have been arrested. And instead of arresting the criminals, they just let Hillary go. They lock up Assange. They roll out the death towers. What can you do, ladies and gentlemen? What can you do? Shelter in place. Grab your ankles. Wait for the deep state to penetrate. They're coming. They're going to lock you down, and they're going to bury you alive in your in your buildings, in your homes. People are going to starve out, or they're going to die out due to this virus. And it's all going to seem like everything's under control, just like the China syndrome. That's why we're saying to people, organize now. Go find, a crew. You need a wingman or two. And start thinking about going Red Dawn. Remember that movie, Red Dawn? When the communists invaded America, right? It's happening right now. These commies are going to try and show up and liquidate your town and spray you and activate, their virus. These death towers and the like are undoubtedly making the situation worse. We've actually got a real interesting quote from a top secret declassified Air Force report. Exposure to RF radiation has been observed to cause physical alterations in the essential cells of the immune system and a degradation of immune response. So look, there's a super virus rampaging around. You want to boost your immune system, not degrade it. And so that's kind of like the other side of controlling your environment and managing this disease. Now you might be saying to yourself, well, how can I communicate if I don't use my cell phone, if I don't use the Wi-Fi and the like? And basically you're going to have to use an Ethernet cable on a computer, and that's it. We've been doing that for over 10 years. It works. We even put on a show. It's rather impressive, isn't it? How do we do it? People are like, hey, why can't I call you? Ladies and gentlemen, it's a tracking device, and it's listening to you and irradiating you. You must be a special kind of stupid if you got a phone on. You need to make other arrangements. ASAP. Not easy, but you don't want a tracking device when, the goon squads start coming. Ditch your phones, ladies and gentlemen. They already know everything about you, where you go, what you like, what you do, who your friends are. All right, it's just a matter of time before they show up, with a van and the like. And this kind of, confirms what we learned about Project Cypher And, it looks like there were, plans circulating, detailed plans. This was a video that came out in 2019 talking about this exact same scenario where a flu-like virus would circulate and kill millions of people during the winter season of 2019-2020. So this was posted in August, Project Zypher. And here it is, right? Project Zypher. And now we've got the forecast of, millions of people. And you can imagine the worst is yet to come. So prepare out there, go get your guns and ammo and understand, what the Declaration of Independence says about tyranny, and understand what the Second Amendment says about your right to protect yourself. Why do you think there's a Bill of Rights? Why do you think you have the right to free speech, the right to bear arms, to form a militia, the right to, an attorney, the right to remain silent, no double jeopardy? Why? Because government essentially is tyranny. And these rights are there to protect you from that tyranny. And your Second Amendment is your last line of defense. You're the ultimate check and balance in this constitutional republic. And none of us have a choice anymore. It's not like we, signed up for this essentially, for this particular ride. We thought we were just going to be able to have a fat, lazy lifestyle out there enjoying the video games and the stadiums and whatever, right? And in any case, we're not going to sidetrack. We got a lot of news still yet to cover. Costco in Kirkland, Washington, reaction to news of the first death. Okay, this is interesting because everywhere you go, like all the Costco's, they're selling Kirkland water. Have you ever seen that? Here they're saying there is only a limited quality of Kirkland water left. And where are all of the cases coming from right now, or where's a big epicenter? Kirkland. So you can bet that this is going to get into, everybody's water supply before you know it. And the water that you'll drink, the food that you'll eat, like after this, starting from now, that's been manufactured now, or maybe even like a few weeks ago, has probably been, slightly dusted. The chances of avoiding being contaminated by this virus are, very slight at this stage. Maybe only the future Unabombers of the world, held up in a shack somewhere, may not get infected. Maybe some hidden tribe, in the middle of the Amazon might not get infected from this. It'd be interesting to see if a tribe emerges, 50 years from now and discovers that the world has been emptied completely. But anyways, beware of Kirkland water, to say the least, ladies and gentlemen. And most bottled water is going to be, it's going to be an issue. Soon, I think everybody's going to have to start boiling their water. This virus has a reputation of going through the sewers and infecting people that way, up through the pipes, through the manholes. This stuff is super volatile, and it turns everybody's urine into a level 4 bioweapon. And that means especially the guys out there are going to have to be very careful about that last drop, because that last drop will get you. The accumulation will start infecting your respiratory pathway. So it'll go from the crotch to the mouth as you're sitting and ventilate you, if you know what I'm saying. And so waste management is going to be a huge thing here. Everybody's going to have to be real obsessive compulsive about being, Mr. and Mrs. Clean out there if you want to survive, because reinfection will get you. This stuff infects you like AIDS. You'll never have immunity to it, and you can get reinfected, and virus load is, all the difference between having symptoms and not having symptoms, just like HIV management. And so if you have a certain virus load, you're going to start having symptoms. So you have to reduce virus load. You have to flush this virus out of your system. You have to piss it out, quite literally, all the time. Drink lots of water, lots of coffee, cranberry juice, and the like. Anything that can boost the liver, the kidneys, the spleen. Get apples. Get everything that you can, ladies and gentlemen. Get everything that you can while you can, and stock it up. And you should be well on your way by now, to say the least. Anyways, getting back, California hospital where 2 healthcare workers have now tested positive for the coronavirus, and they were caring for, what's this? This must have been important, right? Let's see. Important to remember that the patient did not meet CDC's criteria. Yeah, they missed everything. I'm sure there was a different point. Doom CDC lab sent out coronavirus in their test kits, or else they made the test kits so that you would get contaminated. People are just testing this stuff like it's the flu when it's actually a bio safety lab level 4 bioweapon that's been released. There's probably going to be a nuclear war after this or something, because this is a preemptive strike. It's going to hit everybody, the military, the cops, the first responders, the politicians, command and control. They're all going to come down with it in a matter of days or weeks. Everything's been compromised. The whole country's basically on a schedule right now, and they've only got so much time for the payback. What's the payback going to be, ladies and gentlemen? What would you do given the situation? We know it came from their weapons lab, that they've hid it, that they incubated this, that they made, that they did everything they could so that this would spread into every country in the world. So, most people are going to look at this like an act of war. And look, I love Kung Fu movies. I love Bruce Lee. I love the whole culture. I'm a big fan of, their culture from a real kind of like, third person point of view. I do realize that it's a pagan culture. It's kind of an evil culture. They're very aggressive. And so it's kind of like, holding a wolf by the ears. You don't necessarily like it, but you don't dare let it go, if you know what I mean. That's an old Civil War kind of saying. 1800s, bitches. In any case, look, you can understand if they're going to want to, shoot off some ICBMs for this, or who knows what will happen here. Here's a real disturbing case from California, a doctor, and she says her direct contact is positive for coronavirus, so the county is coming to their house in hazmat suits and will test her and her granddaughter, who's been coughing just like her. Positive thoughts and prayers. This girl, lifelong feminist, Democrat, comrade, sounds communist. It's sad. We've got communists in America. Red Dawn, bitches. You feel bad for these people, but they've done it to themselves, Sodom and Gomorrah style. Don't look back to Sodom and Gomorrah. It's sad, but all of these people are going to get just totally trashed, hardcore. It is sad, thinking that our world has now turned into this. And it was like pretty obvious that something like this could happen. They've been talking about this for years. And so where were the kill switches? Where was the surveillance? Oh, none of that. They just let all the planes in, and they were sending out contaminated boxes to every hospital in America, pretty much. Already in the low thousands, more like tens of millions at this stage. 100 million people. Past 24 hours, lots of countries have reported new cases. People are having a weird, violent reaction to all of this, like they resent having their bubble burst, incapable of digesting anything outside of sports and their daily routines. An application will be available soon to report yourself as being infected. And this is how they'll, get people to invite themselves to the FEMA camps. They'll be like, get this app and basically, call us and we'll come and pick you up. And people will be like, yeah, I got hit with it, man. I better go with them, And what choice do you have? Do you go or do you not go? That's why we say, take this seriously and act as if you've already been infected. Start boosting your immune system. Start getting plenty of sleep. Don't overdo yourself. Avoid anything that might irritate the lungs. Forget the Clorox and the bleach. That's a huge irritant. Makes chlorine. Get some white vinegar instead and air out a lot. Fresh air, oxygen is this thing's kryptonite. And so if you can get an oxygen bar going, that'll disinfect your lungs and help, maintain your life support. Start oxygen soon, not later. They're going to want to stall you days and days so that you go critical. And by then, it's not going to help you much. You want oxygen like right now, every day. Fresh air every day. Fresh air is a priority, and disease management is a priority. Fatigue management is a priority. Viral load is a priority. Write all this stuff down, replay on demand, download this video, and keep it in the archives for yourselves, because the internet will probably go black, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see, let's go back to the news. European CDC update, coronavirus in the EU and the UK. Now they're saying widespread sustained transmission, moderate to high. So it went from low risk, even though everybody was being infected, to now, oh yeah, now that it's too late, yeah, it looks like it's moderate to high. In fact, it's kind of like Office Space or something. Widespread transmission in the UK, highly likely, according to their public health service. No paywalls. Everybody's trying to put up a paywall so that you can see their propaganda. It's horrible. They're saying spreads super fast, 213 countries confirmed, they say. Vaccine damage and the like. What's in your water? What's in your food? Sterilize everything. Quit, eating stuff that's kind of raw right now or whatever, because it's all been contaminated. Everything's got to be cooked. Think your vaccines are safe. Great. Let's repeal let's restore civil suit liability. But right now everybody's going to be looking at the vaccine industry. Where's my vaccine? Villagers in Ethiopia are bleeding from their noses and mouths before dropping dead as mystery sickness is blamed on toxic waste from Chinese oil drilling. Seems like wherever these people go and whatever they make these days, it's all about, death. It's all about the culture of death. We've been hearing about a lot of medications from over there that have been tainted with NDMA, which is a hardcore carcinogen. It's like another ticking time bomb. They don't just shoot you in the face in broad daylight. They send you, slow kill poisons. Just like, the U.S. government. What's the difference, right? Fluorides in everybody's water. Oath keepers take over Texas police and are ready to rise up. That's what is happening. Of course, the libtards are like, ooh, a paranoid militia infiltrating Texas police is bent on rebellion. Really? How about just protecting America from communists and, the demonic, ladies and gentlemen? Police used tear gas on protesting residents on the island of Reunion, which is off the coast of Africa. They were trying to block passengers from a cruise ship that was turned away from Madagascar because they all have coronavirus. So another death ship has arrived, and people are trying to block it from coming in, and the forces are like, no, they need to come in. They have to infect, part of the program. Dayton, Ohio child psychologist facing 145 charges related to child pornography. Let's see. Well, there we go. And then that brings us to yesterday's news broadcast. Be sure to check that out in the video archives. Like and share. We're going to have to leave it there for this broadcast. We'll try and be back in a couple hours. But at this stage, ladies and gentlemen, it is what it is. We hope that you've been preparing, and we hope that you found these broadcasts helpful. We're going to continue to broadcast as long as we can. But right now, everybody should act like they've seen the stealth nuclear bomber on the radar. It's there, and it's coming in. And even if you don't see it on the radar, it's there, and it's just a matter of time. So prepare. It's really going to get bad out there. Really, really bad. And, it's going to be chronic. It's going to be debilitating. Nothing is ever going to be the same. It's going to be a long time before everything kind of comes back to somewhat normal. The entire workforce will be automated. People will have to just basically shelter in place and telecommute, teleschool, and the like, and kind of meet up in virtual reality. Maybe send out some avatars. That's going to be the future for a while. And as this thing mutates and gets worse, it's just going to come back and become more devastating and more devastating. It's kind of like, a downward spiral or a black hole until it consumes everything. And so there's no telling, where this is going to go next. Till the next time, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to this, you are the resistance.